Welcome to this explainer. It turns out there is a massive, completely hidden crisis that directly connects our gastrointestinal health to our mental well-being. If you've ever felt like your body is just fighting against you, or maybe you're dealing with unexplained anxiety, stress, or that awful brain fog, well, you are in the exact right place today. We're going to be diving into the groundbreaking work of Harvard-certified neurogastroenterologist Dr. Trisha Pasicha. We'll explore what's known as the second brain protocol, and most importantly, we're going to give you some actionable, incredibly simple tools to completely reset your system. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so let's start by highlighting a truly shocking reality. 40%. That is the number of Americans who suffer from daily bowel disruptions. I mean, think about that. Almost half the population is walking around right now with their everyday lives interrupted by gastrointestinal distress. It's a massive health crisis hiding in plain sight. And honestly, it's something people rarely want to talk about openly. But it actually gets so much deeper than just physical discomfort. It really forces us to ask a profound question. What if your anxiety is actually starting in your gut? So many of us struggle with chronic bloating, a foggy brain, or a nervous stomach, and we just kind of assume it's a character flaw, right? We try to grit our teeth and bear it, thinking it's all just in our heads. But what if those symptoms aren't starting up in your brain at all? What if your gut is actually the command center for your mental health, and it's desperately trying to send you a distress signal? This idea completely flips a medical paradigm that started shifting back in the 1990s. For decades, the old medical myth was that the brain in your head was the boss, just dictating and talking down to the gut. But the new reality? It completely rewrites the script. The gut and the brain are connected by this massive superhighway called the vagus nerve. And researchers discovered something wild. A staggering 80% of the signals on this superhighway are actually traveling upward, from the gut to the brain. This means that gut dysfunction isn't just a side effect of your anxiety, it's very often the root cause. And that brings us to exactly why Dr. Pasicha and other experts call the gut your second brain. Once you stop thinking of your GI tract as just, a digestive tube, literally everything changes. Your gut actually contains more nerve cells than your entire spinal cord. It also acts as a primary immune organ. But perhaps the most incredible part? It physically creates the very neurochemicals, things like dopamine and serotonin, that are responsible for regulating your moods. So if your gut is in distress, your brain's chemical balance is in distress. It's that simple. When you step back and look at the sheer scale of this crisis, the data points are just staggering. Beyond the 40% facing daily disruptions, millions of people are battling public restroom anxiety, mechanical GI issues, and total biological mismatches. So if you've been feeling physical and mental pain, look at these numbers. This data completely validates your daily struggle. You are absolutely not alone, and no, it is not just in your head. Moving on to Section 2, 3 signs of sabotage, how your gut distresses your brain. So Dr. Pasicha identifies 3 main indicators of this gut-brain sabotage. First, we have the twitchy bladder or GI tract. Second, the clencher pattern. And third, something called nutritional virtuosity fatigue. If any of these sound familiar, your nervous system is likely trapped in a state of high alert. Let's break each of these down really quickly so you can identify exactly what might be happening in your own body. Let's start with that first sign, the twitchy bladder or GI tract. This is when you feel that sudden bathroom urgency, maybe feeling like you have to go 8 or 9 times a day, especially right before a stressful event, like a big meeting or presentation. Normally, your stomach has this really regular, calm rhythm of about 3 beats per minute. But under stress, or interestingly, even when you're untruthful, your stomach enters what's called an arrhythmia of the gut. It's just a state of total physical chaos. And this chaos sends constant distress signals flying up that vagus nerve, trapping your brain in a high-alert survival loop fueled entirely by your stomach's irregular rhythm. Okay, let's move to the second sign. This is the clencher pattern. Roughly 33% of people suffer from this, chronically straining for 20 minutes or more just to have a normal bowel movement. And the culprit here is a specific muscle called the puborectalis. As Dr. Pasicha notes, this muscle acts exactly like a tight rubber band, literally choking the rectum shut to maintain continence. When you're clenching and fighting against this muscle, you aren't just straining your body, you are actively triggering a massive stress response right in your brain. And here is exactly why that clencher pattern is so common today. Our modern infrastructure essentially forces us to sit on standard toilets at a 90-degree angle, but this position is a complete biological mismatch for humans. Why? Because it keeps that puborectalis rubber band completely tight. You are literally choking your own progress and fighting against your own anatomy. Squatting, on the other hand, is the biological opposite. It aligns perfectly with our natural biology, fully opening that muscle and allowing the body to actually relax. Which brings us to the third sign, nutritional virtuosity fatigue. Look, we all know we should eat perfectly curated, ultra-healthy meals. Most women, for instance, require about 25 grams of fiber every single day. But let's be real, our lives are incredibly busy. We get exhausted trying to be nutritionally perfect all the time, so we just give up, grab whatever is convenient, or, find ourselves eating the leftover macaroni off our kids' plates. And while that's totally understandable, this diet fatigue leads to a massive fiber gap, and that gap ends up quite literally starving our gut microbiome. So the crucial takeaway here is this. Fiber isn't just about digestion. It acts as the essential fertilizer for your gut microbes. When your microbiome gets enough of that fiber, it produces these amazing beneficial compounds called postbiotics. And these postbiotics are incredibly powerful. They travel right up that vagus superhighway and literally switch on healthy mood-regulating genes in your brain. Without that fiber fertilizer, those postbiotics are never created. And that leads directly to the mental fog, the exhaustion, and the anxiety that so many of us feel on a daily basis. Section 3. The second brain reset. Low-cost, low-effort, restorative protocols. So, we know the gut-brain connection is real, and we know exactly how it sabotages us. But what is so amazing about Dr. Pasicha's restorative protocols is that they are highly effective, completely accessible, and require almost zero prep time. Let's anchor the cost and effort right off the bat. $7. That is roughly the monthly cost of what she calls the lazy fiber hack. Instead of burning yourself out trying to perfectly meal prep 25 grams of dietary fiber every single day, you can bypass the stress entirely with a simple daily psyllium husk supplement. It is literally so easy. You just mix 1 teaspoon of psyllium husk into your water or even your morning coffee daily. Dr. Pasicha refers to psyllium husk as a shapeshifter because of its amazing versatility. Listen to this. If you suffer from a twitchy GI tract with diarrhea, it adds necessary bulk. But if you suffer from the clencher pattern with constipation, it softens the stool. Most importantly, it effortlessly provides your microbiome with the exact fertilizer it needs to start pumping those brain-healing postbiotics right into your system. Next up is the bathroom posture reset. You can actually fix that clencher pattern instantly by just grabbing a small stool or, hey, even a stack of old books. By placing your feet on them and raising your knees above your waist, you mimic a natural squat. This posture automatically opens up that tight puborectalis muscle we talked about earlier, turning what used to be a really stressful 20-minute ordeal into an easy 1-minute job. And that physical adjustment leads perfectly into our final protocol, the 5-minute toilet rule. It is exactly what it sounds like. You should never, ever remain on the toilet or forcefully strain for extended periods of time. If you follow this rule, utilizing your new posture reset and your daily fiber hack, you actually prevent chronic illness. You stop your gut from sabotaging your nervous system, and you physically reset your body's internal clock right back to its natural, calm rhythm. I want to wrap up this explainer with a really powerful, provocative thought from Dr. Pasicha. Think about it. You wouldn't ride a bike in busy traffic without wearing a helmet to protect the brain in your head, right? So why are you treating your second brain's distress signals as just an annoyance or an inconvenience? It's time to reclaim your agency. By treating your gut as the incredibly precious organ it is, by feeding it right and respecting its mechanics, you have the power to stop those anxiety loops and truly flourish, both mentally and physically. So, are you ready to finally listen to what your second brain is trying to tell you?